Ever since her husband died of AIDS in August 2002, Melina Hachilala has been struggling to support herself and her 5 children. HIV positive, Melina is frequently too ill to work and is far too poor to buy enough food for her family. And even when she is healthy, Melina, like most women in rural Zambia, is faced with a back-breaking list of chores to perform, from washing to cleaning to cooking to trying to grow some food in her tiny vegetable garden.
Hiyo munchito yonse no hirindi yo midebe ambwe yo ngambo mapenzi penzi kujiswa obaga botu kuli tumolike ku garden kulima ndakali kuyagiritwa bya garden sunu garden kuli yagirita ndalike kumunda omundira hamanza bwenyo obo sunuona bwaje obugo ojiko hako hakulima kuya mumunda sunuona bwaje ojiko hako hakutina wanga ndendenda onkobereka nchitogerede kuti katyani kakukwai.
While no one knows the true extent of HIV/AIDS in Melina's village, due to the silence and stigma that still surrounds the disease, in the nearby town of Monzi, the adult prevalence rate is estimated at 17%. In the nation as a whole, it is 20%, the 6th highest rate in the world.
The end result is that HIV has been with Zambia long enough and a high enough prevalence so that we're now having what we refer to as a population die-off. Zambia, which is a very small country in terms of its population, only about 10 million people, loses on average 300 people per day. Now, this is also complicated by the fact that for every person who dies, there are many who are ill. There are those who are caring for sick relatives. So we say in Zambia that every person is either infected or affected. The epidemic has undermined the fabric of society. It's destroyed communities. It is placing an incredible burden on those who are surviving. There's a burden of orphans. There's the burden of caring for those who are ill. It's really been a devastating epidemic which is reaching every aspect, every nook and corner of the country.
At the small clinic close to Melina's village, the labour ward is packed, while the nearby voluntary testing and counselling centre for HIV/AIDS is, as usual, almost empty. Greater openness would certainly help to combat the epidemic, but in the meantime, a lot can still be done to benefit people living with HIV/AIDS by reducing the incidence of opportunistic infections, such as diarrhea.
33% of diarrheal diseases can be reduced just by washing hands. And by safe disposal of excreta, it's 26%. And safe water, it's 15%. So that's huge.
Recently, UNICEF installed a new borehole close to Melina's village. Now she has enough clean water to drink, to cook with, and even to wash the dishes. A change that has led to a dramatic improvement in her own health and that of her children. The new borehole is part of UNICEF's long-running WASHI program. Launched in the early 1990s, the program has already benefited tens of thousands of people across Zambia by encouraging the use of pit latrines to improve household sanitation, by enhancing people's knowledge of general health issues, and by providing people with easier access to safe water.
When people have access to safe water, they tend to get diarrhea less often, even when they're HIV positive, and they tend to get skin diseases and other things which often spell a death knell for people with HIV/AIDS. When those things happen less often, people who have AIDS are able to live a healthy life with AIDS for longer. So water and sanitation plays a big part in that respect.
Not only does clean water improve people's health, but by building new wells close to villages, the project aims to cut the amount of time that women spend fetching water, and so reduce the so-called drudgery of women. With wells close by, households affected by HIV/AIDS have more time for other important activities, such as caring for the sick, tending to the fields, and nurturing children, many of whom are already traumatized by the loss of one or both parents.
Kuliviriga kwejisibia ko kuliviriga wamba kuti nino mebo ntindahwa amunyoko hoga ninga bana bangu bapona buti eno mbulimbo batu iha kuchipadela kumakana kuli kwapirira bamba kuti kutoli kwapirira inga kwa kuti ndiza inga mazuba ako ayungirwa kuti inga wakuhide waliya mugwetanya mbuli mumende mbulimbo twenda mumakana abukhala ansana mbuli yakuliya tuwadi hakuliya hilika botu wo gotanthamwa mbuli into ya doti via mbuli ndime mbondili mukayentu ayabasango so nataya kutanthamuka imwentu koti bumi bwangu ndatyani ndila buyungende muka mwini.
But while better food and clean water do help, access to antiretroviral drugs is essential. The Zambian government has launched an ARV program, but its reach is severely limited by funding shortages.
For those who are infected, that are now progressing to AIDS disease, we have to keep them alive. Because if we don't, what shall we do with the increasing numbers of orphans who will grow up with no skills, no models? So that is, it's not lost. We have to do that. How do we do that? We need cheaper antiretroviral drugs. They have to be accessible.
While it is unlikely that Melina will benefit from ARVs, it is likely that she will now stay healthy for longer, giving her the necessary time to support and care for her children.